This is the classwork from March 4th, 2014 at the Independent School for fifth hour Latin 1. I want you to translate these sentences here in this column, okay, using the notes in this column here. I've tried to break down the grammatical information for you so you'll get used to what it means. So Quintus is the subject, the verb is kukurit, and where he ran, sort of a virtual direct object, would be there. So Quintus, so perfect means simple past tense, so instead of run it would be ran, and where he ran would be domum. Okay, so in English you'd move this to there. And then I forgot to tell you what teritos means terrified, so put that at the end. Terrified. Number 2, I'm calling it number 2, omnia patri naravit. So in this instance there's no subject, same as before, so that is Quintus is the subject, that is he, so just make it he, then the verb, which in this case is naravit, the object is omnia, and the indirect object, that is to whom he told omnia, is patri. Again, I've indicated here that this is past tense, so simply he told. Okay. Third one, this should be lowered, not sent away. You can't send away your head. So subject ille, verb demisit, direct object caput. He lowered his head. Oops. The next one, same subject as before, so just he. Verb is apherovit, covered. You can see it's covered because I've said it's third person singular of cover. Perfect. So he, not he covers, but he covered. What he covered is the direct object, oculos, and how, this is an ablative, as I say here, ablative plural, answers the question how he covered, that is with his hands. Covered his face, covered his eyes, oculos, with his hands. So in English word order you'd have to say this would have to come after the verb, and then how would have to come after that in translation. Okay. The next one, there's tandem at the beginning. There's no problem syntactically. Then he begins the quote, Quinte, directly addressing Quintus. Quintus, bellum civili provido. That was the first part of the quote. The verb, provideo, I foresee, it says here. What he foresees is bellum civile. So in English you'd put just the subject will just be I, and then the verb, and then the object will be what you translate. Cives furunt. So the subject are cives and the verb is furunt, and there's no direct object after that. Okay. Present tense, furunt and provideo are both present tense because he's speaking in quotation. Okay, the next sentence, magistratus urbem regere non possunt. So the subject, although this could be, I say here that it's nominative or accusative, plural, it's ambiguous. Could be either. The simplest form of disambiguation would be that this is plural. I say here it's plural. The verb is also plural, possunt. So prima facie, that is at first face, you should think this is the subject and see how that goes. The verb is possunt, The infinitive that goes with the verb is regere. What he is unable to do is regere, and what he cannot regere, they cannot regere, is the direct object urbem. Okay, so in English word order use this magistratus would come first, followed by the verb, followed by its infinitive, and at the end you'd put the direct object. Sorry about the shaky handwriting. Next one, mus on the end of the verb debemus means already we, so the subject in English will be we. Debemus, as you see here, the translation will come next. Verbs like debeo take an infinitive to tell you to do, must do what. So what they must do is discedere, and where they're to discedere from is Roma, this ablative, the place from where. We, and then the verb, and then the infinitive, to discedere, and then the ablative of place from where, from Roma. Then he directly pays attention to Quintus, to Quintus. Debes, same verb as before, but with this ending, which I say here means you. Okay. So subject is you, to. The verb comes next. That's debes. And what he should do, what he must do, is number one infinitive, navigare, and number two infinitive, studere. Okay, so that would be subject to in English or in Latin, debes is the verb, navigare, et studere. That's the basics of the sentence. Where he is going to navigare to is Atenas. How can I do this? Okay, so next page. Ego Venusium redibo. So he's, for rhetorical contrast, he says ego. Before he said to. Now he says ego. You, and then he says what she should do. Now he says what I will do. Ego, and then the verb. Is redibo. And where he will return to, not technically the direct object, but the place to where, but it comes in the same place as the direct object. So subject ego, verb redibo, place to where, or like the direct object Venusiam, their hometown. Okay. Next one. The other thing that he'll do there, verb to in this sentence, it's here, and what he will curabo are matrem tuem and sororem. So object 1 and object 2. I shall care for matrem tuum sororem que. So these two things. Que, remember, acts like, in English, it's as if we could say apples, oranges, que. And have that mean apples and oranges. Okay. And there's one last one, so you can get the idea. Quintus is the subject. And we'll go there. The verb, Festinabat was hastening. Forgot to put that here, but that's what it means. And there's no direct object, but it does tell you where he is hastening. So the place where he is hastening, his destination, is told you here. The Scholam Heliodori. Those two go together. So not just to school, but to Heliodorus' school. Okay, well, that's enough for now. Navigare, and where he's to navigate is Atenos, so that's the object. The next infinitive, that's infinitive 1, infinitive 2, studere. What he's to study is philosophia. Even though it's dative, not accusative, it acts in English like the direct object. So you would say studere philosophia in English.